everyone, welcome to Communicative English. Today we're going to talk about consistent point of view. When you write something in English, or actually anything in any language, it is very important to keep consistent point of view. So what is point of view and how do we keep it consistent? Let's take a look at it. So what we're going to discuss today is what teachers call point of view and what some grammar and usage handbooks call confusing shifts in point of view. So let's say you're a writer. You know what you're going to write about. You know what the main point of your essay or book is, and you know exactly what you're referring to when you use some pronouns. But let's imagine that you're a reader now. You have no idea what the author is going to talk about, and you have no idea what author's looking at right now. So, as a great author, you should be able to understand the position where readers are and write things in a way that readers can understand easily. So it is actually not easy to shift the point of view from a writer to the reader. As always, it's hard to imagine a situation in someone else's stand. So, as hard it is important to do it, because if you fail to keep the point of view consistent, then the readers will lost in the middle of your writing, and they will not understand what you're trying to say, and eventually your writing will become inefficient. You can't deliver your intention through your writing. So it's very important to keep the consistent point of view. And to understand this concept better, I brought an example. So let's take a look at it. This is a typical example of mixed point of view. So as I said before, the point of view is a view where the writer or readers are looking at in the sentence or writing. So let's look at this. The sentence is, we were slowly getting closer to our destination, but you could see that everyone was getting frustrated. So here, it's confusing. Who's looking at what? Because there are multiple pronouns used and we are not sure which one is referring what, right? So we don't know how to understand the sentence. Should we look at the sentence from the point of view of us, like we, or should we look at this sentence from the point of view of you, or should we look at this from the point of everyone? You can't be sure because the point of view is mixed in this one simple sentence. So even though you can understand the meaning of it at this point, but imagine that you're reading a book and the book is filled with these kind of expressions. Then you will get lost at some point, right? So let's fix this. How do we fix this? So to fix the problem, we have to see the nature of the problem first. So here we can see three different pronouns. First one is we. We is a first person plural. And then we can see you. You is a second person plural, or it could be singular, but let's say plural here. And the third pronoun is everyone. It's third person singular. So as I said, the point of view refers to the perspective from which the sentence is told. So when we discuss point of view, we use a term called person, meaning who or what is the focus of the sentence. So in English, we have three persons: first person, second person, and third person, right? And since the point of view refers to the perspective, if we use mixed point of view, then the perspective gets confused too. Then we will get lost in the middle of the sentence. So it is important to have consistent point of view. In another word, we need to have consistent personal point of view. You have to choose among three options you have. Do you want to use the first person or second person or third person? Choose one type of person and stick to it. That is the easiest way to keep the consistent point of view. So let's rewrite the sentence in the previous slide using a consistent point of view. Here, since we have we had three different types of persons. We have all first, second, and third person in this sentence. But here, we're going to choose either first person or third person. So let's say you chose the first person, then you have to change the second and third person plural. So the revision can be made as, we were slowly getting closer to our destination, but we could see that we were getting frustrated, right? So here we can see three different pronouns and they're all we, so the point of view in this writing is consistent. But what about choosing the third person point of view? Then we have to decide who is the third person. So here I just chose a random name, but it could be anyone else. Like actually the pronouns, the meaning of the pronouns can be determined by the context. But here we're working on with just one sentence, so we don't have the full context. So it's impossible for us to know who are we or you or everyone or they. So, but to make my point clear, I chose a random imaginary third person called Gomez's. The Gomez's, these are third person. We're slowly getting closer to their destination. Now we switch we into the Gomez's, the third person now. So I change our destination in the original sentence into their destination to match the point of view. But they could see that they were all getting frustrated. So the choosing the person is related to the point of view of the writing. So when you choose the first person point of view, that means the writer in this sentence is also the participant of the event occurring in the sentence. You say we means not only other people but the writer. I is the writer, so I itself is involved with this incident. But if you keep the third person point of view, that means writer is not part of the event. He's not in the situation. He or she's not in the situation, but he or she's just observing the event and give a narration of the incident. Okay, so at the end it depends on the writer which point of view to choose, but it's important to understand that different point of view serves different function, right? Okay, let's go to the next slide. Rewording. So these sentences may be consistent, but sometimes a rewording of the sentence may improve readability. So we eliminated the elements of inconsistent point of view. But we can stop there, right? But at the same time, to improve the quality of the sentence and actually help the readers to read it more efficiently, more effectively, maybe you can do something called reword. Rewriting the sentence or changing the words in the sentence to improve its readability. So let's look at the first sentence. The Gomez's were slowly getting closer to their destination, but they could see that they were all getting frustrated. So this is consistent. This has consistent point of view, but one might say that it's a little bit wordy. Like there are too many words in it, unnecessary words. Why? Because they, the pronoun they, got repeated twice, and both they are the same people. So when there is exactly the same thing repeated in the sentence, unless it is intended to, it is unnecessary. It's just unnecessary word, extra words that doesn't have to be there. So what you keep in your mind is that when you write something, you have to keep it as simple as possible. The more you some students think, some people think that if you write something long and complicating, it looks fancy. It looks like you can show off your ability of writing even better with those complicating sentences. But actually, no. You can give an impression that you know a lot of like complicating structures in the sentence, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you are an efficient, good writer, right? You always should focus on the reason why you're writing this one. The whole point of the writing is to communicate, like all the use of languages. The sole purpose, the main purpose of writing is to deliver your thoughts. So you have to think about what your intention is. So this sentence can be something really important, and there could be some hidden agenda why you have to write things in a certain way, like the first sentence. Okay, I admire that. I appreciate that. If you can show the necessity of the wordy sentence like the first one in your writing, great. But if you don't have hidden agenda, then it's better to write something in a simpler way like the second sentence. Let's look at it. The Gomez's were slowly getting closer to their destination, but they were getting frustrated. So the part they could see that is deleted. Does that cause significant change in the meaning of the sentence? No, I don't think so. So you can still show the fact that they were getting closer to their destination and they were getting more and more frustrated. Is it important to let the readers know that they could see that they are getting frustrated? Maybe it is something important. Then you have to say that. But if it is not, then you don't have to write it on. You don't have to put it in your sentence. So at the end, it's a judgment call. You have to decide what's necessary and what's not, right? So you make the decision and you write the sentence. But actually, the evaluation is made by the readers, not the writer yourself, right? So it's up to, the decision is up to the readers to decide whether this sentence is well written and easier to understand, right? So keep that in mind. You are the writer, but you're not the reader. So you should always put readers' needs first when you write something. All right. So the revision cuts 4 words and improves the flow of the sentence. So many times this type of revision improves the readability. Readability means how easy and simple and effective it is to read something and understand the meaning and intention of the sentence. So the readability is improved more than merely focusing on point of view. So when you change the point of view, like you have to pay attention to the point of view because there are many different words in the sentence that uses point of view. So when you do that, not only just, keep them consistent, but also think about if that pronoun is really necessary, or you can omit some of the words. Okay? So, in the end, you may wondered in the previous slide when we did the consistent point of view revision, I chose only 2 perspectives, first person and third person. And you may wonder what happened to the second one. The original sentence had second person plural pronoun too. Why didn't we use that? Okay, now I will explain why. So when you choose the pronoun, when you choose the point of view in your writing, you can either choose first, second, or third. But a lot of people say that it's most effective when you choose the third person, especially when you write something academical or informative or something business. Okay? Like something that has to be formal. Formal writing prefers third person. So, what's wrong with the first person I or we? You can use them, but in a very limited and special circumstances, actually. So, you can use these pronouns I or we when you're giving a personal examples or when you think like the focus of the sentence is clearly on the writer yourself, not someone else. So if it has to be you in the sentence, it's either your experience or your opinion or your idea. If you want to emphasize that, then you can use the pronoun I or we. But let's say you're writing a medical journal. When you write a medical journal, if you say something like, I think, I suggest, I propose, it sounds so personal. So if you found out something really groundbreaking and you want to emphasize that it was me who found it, not anybody else. It was me. I found this I made this amazing discovery and I'm going to let everybody know. Okay, that's what you want to say? Then you can use I. But when you state a simple fact, it's kind of counter-effective if you say I, because you can't avoid the impression that it is your personal opinion. So if you want to make something like concrete and objective, no, I'm sorry, not objective. Objective. A little confused. If you want to say something objective and impartial, then you may want to choose a pronoun that sounds more neutral than just I, because I sounds personal. On the other hand, if you write something like inspirational talk or like truly like personal stories, then maybe choosing the point of view of the first person can be effective because it sounds more personal and sounds closer like to the writer. Okay, so when you choose the perspective, you have to think of the function and effect what the different type of person gives. Okay, and what about second person you? As it says on the very first bullet, do not, in all caps, do not use it, period, ever, period. Don't use you. Unless you're writing instructions, telling people what to do, or asking rhetorical questions, like in very, very limited circumstances, like unless in those circumstances, please do not use you, yours, your, or anything that sounds like you in academic writing. It sounds so informal and counter-effective. Just don't use it, right? Okay, so when we take an exam later, keep in mind that this is a very, very important factor that I will check on your writing. All right? So what comes next is exercise time. So on the LMS, I will upload a file that has about how many? Let me check. That has 14 sentences with mixed point of view. Then we're going to talk about each examples in classroom. All right? So please don't forget to check the attachment and make sure that you do your assignment on time. And meanwhile, we are going to meet again on Friday. Okay? Have a nice day and see you on Friday.